What growth expectations do you have for your company? Are you waiting for sales to pick up before you hire more people? Are you the bottleneck instead of a growth leader for your small business? Your thoughts and feelings around growth are more important than you may know. And today I'll show you how you can choose the thoughts around growth that will best serve you and your business. My name is Jeff Schuster with Mechanics and Mindset Business Coaching. I cover a variety of topics that benefit small business owners and entrepreneurs. And if this is you, I'd really appreciate it if you'd like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel below. There are 8 critical mechanical components of business, and there are 7 levels of core energy. And I'm creating a series of videos called Business Mechanics and Mindset. And you can read all about these topics in much more detail in my book entitled Business Mechanics and Mindset: How Your Thoughts Create or Sabotage Your Business Success. Now today's video is the 6th of this series entitled Core Energy Growth. But before I go too far, I've created another video that you may want to watch before you watch this one, and it's entitled What is Core Energy? It explains the 7 levels of core energy in detail that will be mentioned in this entire video series. And I've left links to my book and the What is Core Energy video in the description below. Now, the word growth brings up conflicting thoughts among small business owners. Some think that if they grow, they'll simply inherit more work for themselves. Others want to grow, but are waiting for sales to justify hiring more people. And still others estimate the cash suck that growth will cause once they make the decision to grow. And then still some believe they're just fine where they are, so why grow? Now, in my business coaching practice, I've discovered that there are 4 key considerations around business growth. First of all is the growth mindset. How are your thoughts hindering or helping the growth of your business? The second is strategy. What particular mechanism should you use to grow your business? For instance, do you want to franchise? Do you want to do organic growth and just hire more employees and build up your organization? Do you want to outsource your growth to subcontractors? Or do you want to acquire other smaller companies? The third factor is scalability. How can you grow and still deliver improved value and quality to your customers while you improve the profitability of your business? And the fourth is a facility. What infrastructure will you need in the way of office space or technology to support your growth initiatives? So I want to illustrate all 4 of these growth ideas through a simple story. So Jane owns a local flower shop called Flowers R Us. She started her shop because she loved gardening and she especially loved flowers. Now Jane is stressed out and is often overwhelmed when it comes to special occasions like wedding season and Valentine's Day. But people rave about Flowers R Us in the local community, and they brag how their prices beat the national chains. So I'm going to illustrate Jane's thoughts and feelings as she climbs a ladder from level 1 to level 5 as she considers various growth scenarios. Let's start off with level 1, the victim, with the core thought of I lose. So Jane believes that she's been lucky to get customers in her past, but she's convinced that flowers, they really aren't that important. And as soon as the economy experiences a downturn, her flower business will crash. And as it is, she isn't really making a lot of money anyway, and her customers already complain about her high prices. So the best growth strategy is to fill flower orders for now and hopefully earn enough money to retire. If Jane were to grow, she's concerned that she'd need to charge more for her flowers. And with people already complaining about high prices, there's no way that she could get any bigger. So there's no way that she'll get a loan to build a shop that will leave her in even greater debt when the economy crashes. So here's the thing about victims. Victims will run away from any growth strategy. They'll see their industry as shrinking, and their most proactive thought about growth is that there's probably only one choice of growth, and that choice won't work. Let's move on up to level 2, the fighter. And the core thought is I win, you lose. Now Jane is dominating her local town's flower business. She's doing great as her prices are better than the large chains. She wants to grow by opening up another flower shop location in an adjacent town. To keep Flowers R Us competitive, she'll need to find a location at a bargain price and find a competent shop manager who will work for a low wage. Jane has created a killer business plan that has received multiple bank offers to loan her money to open up her new location. Now, fighters, they're competitors, and they're highly valuable in a competitive market. They'll shop around for the best prices to scale. Unfortunately, they don't trust or empower others, which means that any growth is 100% on them. Now, this tactic will work for growth in the short term, but it's highly limiting for growth beyond a few locations. Let's move on up to the survivor, level 3, with a core thought of, I win. So Jane sees growth as a response to the demand for her flowers. She's overwhelmed on special days, but Jane is making plans to expand her current flower shop when demand picks up on regular days. Jane has estimated that she can afford to expand as soon as her average capacity exceeds 80%. Jane is considering a loan for her expansion, but she knows that she can fund her expansion with the cash that she has in the bank. So why borrow money? So survivors tend to be passive about growth. They'll react to increases in customer orders by growing themselves to meet the demand. If they don't see the additional demand, they'll be perfectly content to stay where they are. They'll shy away from any risk associated with growing their business. And all growth risks are calculated risks with little downside if they fail. Let's move on up to the lover, level 4, with a core thought of you win. Now, Jane is grateful for her staff, and she depends on her staff to grow her flower shop. She's constantly grooming her existing staff to take on more and more responsibility. Jane has identified 2 of her key employees, Jim and Natalie, who she believes have the ability to take on the responsibility to run their own shop. And both Jim and Natalie will get a 50% equity share in the new stores without spending a penny of their own money. Jane is planning to keep her prices consistent as she goes, and in fact, she plans to offer a discount to her new stores to quickly build a customer base. So Jane is working with Jim and Natalie to identify facilities in adjacent cities to expand Flowers R Us, and she's tasked both Jim and Natalie with creating business plans that include making lease payments for their new shops. So lovers will rely on their people to grow. They invest in their people, giving training and encouragement. Unlike fighters, lovers will empower and trust their people. Even when their people fail, they will encourage them and give them a second and even third chance to prove their worth. Now, lovers will rarely look outside of their current employees for leadership. As a result, lovers won't grow unless their people are ready for growth. So let's move on up to level 5, the opportunist, with the core thought of win-win. Now, Jane's excited about the success she's achieved in her town, and she sees the opportunity to grow Flowers R Us to a national brand. She's considering many different growth strategies. Jane's thinking of franchising, but feels like this may be just another 1-800-Flowers copycat, and that's no good. She's considered opening more shops in other cities, but that seems small time. The idea that Jane is most excited about is building a greenhouse operation in cold weather climates, and then selling flowers wholesale to local flower shops. And since most flowers must be shipped from California at a high cost, local greenhouses will ultimately be a better option for local florists. So Jane has created a plan to build and staff greenhouses throughout the northern United States, and she's excited to learn that land prices in many of these areas are quite reasonable with short shipping distances to populated cities. So Jane has estimated that local florists will pay 15% less for locally grown greenhouse flowers than they will for shipped flowers from warm climate states. She's in the process of getting contracts with florists to agree to buy a minimum amount of flowers from her greenhouse facilities. So opportunists think outside the box. They see opportunities where others see nothing, and they tend to shy away from the traditional growth strategies for a few reasons. First of all, they don't want to compete as another commodity in a saturated marketplace. And second, it's just much more fun to blaze a trail that no one's traveled on before. Since opportunists are win-win thinkers, they won't grow for the sake of growing. They also want win-win results in their growth opportunities. So in this story, you can clearly see the win-win thinking playing out in lower costs of flowers to local flower shops and increased wealth for Jane with profitable greenhouses. So I've just described 5 core energy levels of growth represented by Jane as she plans to grow Flowers R Us. And there is no wrong approach to growth. However, your mindset will often create your reality when it comes to growth in your small business. Most business owners who are reluctant to grow and adopt a victim or acceptance mindset tend to attract customers and employees who are of a similar mindset. I mean, think about it. If you're a dispassionate employee of a stagnant company, you'll be fine with no change or growth. If you're an ambitious employee with a hope of becoming something more, you'll quickly leave a stagnant company. So I hope you learned a few things about how you can pick a growth mindset that fits your business. Once again, my name is Jeff Schuster with Mechanics and Mindset Business Coaching. If you'd like to learn more about how I coach my business owner clients, please visit my website at www.mmbizcoach.com. And I'd appreciate it if you'd like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel below. Until we meet again, I pray that God blesses you and your business.